Hi, welcome to clickmyproject.com. This video will lead us to the demo of an efficient and fine-grained big data access control scheme with privacy-preserving policy. How to control the access of the huge amount of data becomes a very challenging issue, especially when big data are stored in the cloud. Ciphertext policy attribute-based encryption is a promising encryption technique that enables end users to encrypt their data under the access policies defined over some attributes of data consumers, and only allow data consumers whose attributes satisfy the access policies to decrypt the data. In cipher policy attribute-based encryption, the access policy is attached to the ciphertext in plain text form, which may also leak some private information about end users. Existing methods only partially hide the attribute values in the access policies, while the attribute names are still unprotected. In this paper, we propose an efficient and fine-grained big data access control scheme with privacy-preserving policy. Specifically, we hide the whole attribute rather than only its values in the access policies. To assist data decryption, we also design a novel attribute bloom filter to evaluate where an attribute is in the access policy and locate the exact position in the access policy. If it is in the access policy, security analysis and performance evaluation show that our scheme can preserve the privacy from any LSSS access policy without employing much overhead. First of all, there are data users, that is the data owners, and then the data consumers, and then the server, then the attribute authority. These persons are present in this system. First of all, the data owner or the data users first of all register into the system, and then they have to log in. Then only they can select the data, and then at the time of selection and before uploading the data, the data owner have to give authorization permission to some of the users, that is called as the cloud consumers. Then the authority is stored. After that, the data owners get the key from attribute authority and then encrypt the data. After the encryption process, the encrypted data is sent to server, that is called as the cloud service provider, and then the consumers have to log in into the system and send them request. Based on this request, the server is searching into the system and then get the relevant content for the query. This relevant data is transferred to the consumer again, and then the consumer is having the encrypted data. This data have to be decrypted. For that, the decryption key is very important. Then at that time, the attribute authority send the key to consumer. Using that key, the consumer have to decrypt the data and know about the original content. First of all, we have to see the demo. For that, right click the homepage.java and then click run file. This is the home page. Then click this image. This is the login page. If the user wants to register, means click the register button and then register into the system. Then press login. Login is successful. Then this is the data owner, so that we called as a end user. Click the browse button and select the new text document. Press open. Now the data present inside the text file is displayed here. Then click next. We can see the file name, location, format, size by using these checkboxes, and then this data owner have to give permission to some authorized users so that they can select consumer 1. Now the consumer 1 is having the permission to access this data, and then click next. Now these data are inserted into the database, and then click the title. The title is displayed here, and then the author name is displayed here. We are having the dataset called as book dataset. It having the title name, that is book title name, author name, publisher name, and year. Then click next. This is the publisher name, and this is the published year of that book. Then click next. Here we have to press original data. This is the original data present in the dataset. Now the user wants to encrypt this data. For that, the user have to receive key from attribute authority. So that we have to run attribute authority.java. Right click the attribute authority.java and press run file option. Now the use attribute authority have to generate the key, and then this key is now transferred to end users. Press send to end user and then press get key. Now the key is received. Using this key, the data is encrypted, and then click next. Here also we have to see the original index, and then click index cipher, that is the index is encrypted. Then click next. This is the server. The server receives the data and then the index. Then click next. This is the consumer phase. The consumer have to log in into the system. Press login. If the login is success, means then only the consumer one have the validation process. The consumer one is now the authorized user. Now the consumer is giving the query. For that, the first of all the book name is selected, and then press search. And next the author name, search, and then next the publisher, and then give year. Now this data is transferred to server. Server receives the data and converted into byte. These bytes are then converted into binary. Then the binary is searched in the database, and then it will give the cipher data related to that. Press next. Now this is the searching process. These are the index that are relevant to the query sent by the consumers. Then click data searching. These are the relevant datas. Then click send. This is the data consumer again. The consumer have receiving the data, that is the encrypted data, from the cloud service provider, and then the consumer needs a decryption key for viewing the original data. For that, the attribute authority have to send it to data consumer button. Press get. The key is received, and then using this key the encrypted data is decrypted.